Hello and welcome to IaCConf. Uh, Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all of you around the globe. My name is Ruby Agarwal and I'm the Vice President of Engineering here at Avaya. I've been with Avaya for 15 plus years, for the past decade, primarily in the cloud space. Big focus on cloud infrastructure, platform, DevOps, DevSecOps, cloud ops, release delivery, FinOps, etc. We are a multi-cloud organization, very heavy in Azure and GCP. A little bits of very few services in AWS. I have two kids, um, both in college, and two four-legged babies that I have. My husband and I, we love to travel. We are a national park enthusiast. You name it, we've been there, and we both always compete upon which one is our favorite. I've always been a person who combines technology with structure and discipline. And I try to find innovative ways to speed delivery, but also to reduce waste. And that's why I naturally thrive on transformation, agility, and operations and love the space that I am in. I've done cloud infrastructure at scale for enterprise grade solutions, not once, not twice, but four times now. And every single time I've taken lessons forward into the next project. And today, what I'm going to do is share some of this real world experiences and practices that we've implemented with you for you to take it forward in your world. This talk is going to be about how we treat security as a product, security as a feature, and not as a blocker. Let me start with a story. So this was September 2018, Monday, 2 p.m., and my team received a call from our security organization. One of our cloud environments, we were seeing a rapid deploy and shutdown of VMs constantly at a very unexpected rate. And what had happened was there was a Git secret that got leaked and somebody had gotten access to it and they started using it to deploy quick VMs on our infrastructure. You know, these kind of incidents, they cost money to our organizations, but more importantly, in addition to the financial impact, they also they have legal implications. They may cost our compliance. They may, cost trust from our customers. In our case, we were very fortunate. This was one of our dev environments, and we plugged the gap immediately within minutes. So we didn't really have a loss, but we did take a lot of lessons from there on security, on alerting, on cost management, and governance. And I'm going to be sharing some of those with you today. Most breaches today happen due to misconfiguration. Gartner reports greater than 90% are breaches that fall in this category. 40% are misconfigurations, 25% access exposure, another 50% are due to, let's say, secrets that people may have embedded in their code, put it in GitHub, whatever the reason. These security gaps are not because of the cloud itself. They are there based on how we set up the cloud. So it is upon us to make sure that we set up our cloud infrastructure correctly and securely. As you can see from the sneak report, all of us want to do it right. We all want to make sure that our systems are secure. We all have the intent of making it right. The point is, How do we make it built in and secure so we don't have to think about it as an afterthought? And that's what we're going to go through today. Security needs to be a first-class citizen in everything that we do. So this year in 2025, we launched a greenfield program project for via Infinity. So we had the opportunity to work on a greenfield, cloud native, AI first, AI driven platform with the entire organization backing it. Not many of us get that opportunity often. So we were in that boat. And what we did, we made security a first class citizen. In the past programs, what has happened is we go in and we put we go in and say, okay, we're gonna go ahead and build our product, get the feature functionality, and then start talking about security and compliance. And while that does work, it does add delay to your releases and your time to market gets impacted. And then you're trying to bolt on security. You're retrofitting security features. In this case, we flipped the switch. We went in and put security and compliance. We baked it in from day one. We implemented policies in our pipelines. We went ahead and implemented scans on all of our deployments, and we'll go through each of these topics in the coming slides. We went ahead and did all that. We actually built our COGS model before we even wrote a single piece of code, a single line of code. Our COGS model for our system was built, and the design decisions were very intentional at that point. Cost governance, because of this, became a shared responsibility across all of the different teams. The tech stack we chose here, it was again chosen intentionally with our customer base and our deployment models in mind. We deploy cloud native, we deploy hybrid, etc. And we also go ahead and make sure that when we are selecting our tech stack, we take care of their requirements. They want zero touch, zero downtime, cloud managed solutions for them that will scale and are resilient. And that is what we had the opportunity and built with security baked in. What was the result? We did move fast, and we did move with safety. The team did prove that DevOps and DevSecOps do not need to be in conflict. The two of them are actually stronger together. And the lessons are clear. Build secure foundation early to avoid excessive firefighting later. So let's get a little bit into the reality of what we did. In our pipeline, we basically put simple things like any open ports, go ahead and fail the PR. If by mistake somebody writes code where all of our infrastructure is not tagged, even the services that are running on Kubernetes, if they're not tagged with, let's say, the owner or the environment that it's running it, we would fail the build. Some of the policies are listed here. Access control, we built it as part of the pipelines. A very key message here, which is, as we built it into the pipelines, the PR checks, the detail in the PRs or the information in the PR checks were very crisp and clear. Imagine that your PR fails while you're trying to do a build or a deploy, and you get a big spit out of a JSON message. That is not helpful for the developer. Then it's adding time, and at that time, frustration. What you really need to be doing is X failed, talk about that X, and here's why. Meaning, give actionable output as part of the PR tests or checks that you are doing so that your developers moving faster and not really feeling like, oh my God, now I don't know what's going to happen. Um, we're all very passionate, a lot of us here, we're all very passionate about our infrastructure, our deployments are 100% automated. That is a very good thing, but just the automation itself doesn't give us security. It gives us speed, it gives us repeatability, it gives us ability to ability to maintain it faster, makes operations easier, but it does not give you security by default. That is something that we have to build in. Imagine one misconfigured template or port, open port that you may have in your pipeline that will go to hundreds of deployments that could result in thousands of alerts that you will then have to navigate through. So very important to shift left and go ahead and start building these guardrails within the product itself, within your pipelines itself. Compliance. We are talking about enterprise grade software over here. Our customers are looking for our solutions to be compliant for whether it's PCI or HIPAA or ISO, etc. And in all of our past programs, what we have ended up with is you build your product, you go through a release, and then later you're going through compliance cycles, and then you have your quarterly audits, and you have a certain portion of your resources, whether it is your engineering team, your security team, your operations team, they're collecting evidence, submitting that evidence, working with the auditors, etc., etc. What we've gone ahead and done is we have built evidence collection as part of pipelines, not really waiting for the quarterly audits. You want evidence today, that one pipeline runs, generates all of those evidence, and then that can be taken forward by operations to submit it for the particular quarter. And it's actually, you can get it every quarter, you can get the annual recertification, if you may. I will not say that we are at 90%. That is our goal. Having said that, thinking about it early and building it into our pipelines is actually what helps us move faster and not pull our engineers into compliance activities later in the cycle. So another important aspect when we start treating security as a feature. This is one of my slides that I really like to talk about. Pretty much every pipeline would have some sort of tool built into their pipeline to be able to do scans or do checks before the code gets submitted. Could be SonarQube, could be Black Duck. So for us, there's many more that are integrated, but the couple that I wanted to talk about is, especially on the code space, we wanted to make sure that we are scanning all levels, not just the application level or the infrastructure level, but both in our software, but also for third-party licenses, etc. as well. The message I want to give here is make sure that the feedback's, like I said earlier, embedded in the PR review, but also integrate the tool's output with Jira. Not every issue can be fixed right there, right at that moment. There are certain priority ones that can be fixed right then and your PRs fail. But certain ones require maybe a third-party library upgrade or something like that. And so what we've done is we've integrated it with Jira, and that helps bring accountability and messaging to the right teams and the right people that have to fix the issues in time. Standard dashboards, they can look at the dashboards, they can go ahead and fix the issues in the time that is allocated. but you're not having to have people running operations trying to follow up. I remember 4 years ago, I used to have with all my managers, my team, I would have a weekly review and we would go to each of those individual dashboards, check what is the result of these, and then have to either create jiras or remember to talk about it again. It was always following. While it was automated in terms of the pipeline, we still didn't have it automated end to end to be able to to be able to fix things that fast. We ended up doing that now, and what that helps us is reduce our remediation time. In our case, it's gone down from 9 days to 3 days. Let's talk about post deployment scans. So we do everything right. We've got our PRs, we've got our JIRAs created, we've got infrastructure happening, code scanning happening. There's still something that is going to move out or maybe slip through. What you have here is a real deployed system, and we've integrated with Wiz. We've got all of the necessary sensors implemented on our infrastructure, which will then send all of the information into Wiz. We have Wiz dashboards, again, automatically creates JIRAs. Point being, there's multiple, security is not a one and done. You do one, you may have the next step and the next step. One of the things, this helps us catch issues on a deployed system, run different kinds of tests, even before it hits our production environment. So this would happen in one of our promotion environments. And again, Wiz is integrated across the board, production, promotion, dev labs, everywhere, but you do get the opportunity to catch all of these kind of concerns earlier and sooner. This is one of my favorite topics, cost governance. I am very passionate about it. And one of the things that, it's a lot of it is actually common sense. Make sure we're tagging our resources appropriately, make sure we have cost and budget alerts. Like we say this instance has this budget, and if it starts going 70%, 90% at that, or even above, you're getting alerts for them so that you know why your costs are going up. Very important is to make sure that there is no extra zombie infrastructure lying around or even entire labs lying around. While cost is a very important aspect of it, financial waste is something we don't want. There is another risk, and that is overexposure. If we have extra resources sitting out there, there is a risk of overexposure, and that is why cost governance is extremely important. And what we've done is made sure that we've got policy as code for a lot of these conditions that we implement in terms of making sure that our costs are according to what we have planned and what it should be. This is something, shared ownership model. This is something that has given us results beyond what I had originally imagined. More often than not, in large organizations, we end up with a security organization, a compliance, a legal, product, engineering. So you have multiple organizations. Some may be small, some may be big, or a variation of those. And there used to be in the past a little bit of, hey, we're going to go ahead and, engineering has fixed all of these things. We had our own dashboards. Security team had their own dashboards. And we've dissolved that. And we now have common dashboards across the organization. And what that has done is it has enabled us to look at the same data talk through the same concerns and the problems that come up through these scans or on these dashboards, they are shared problems. We solve them together and we all feel responsible for it. So shared dashboards, shared responsibility, co-owned OKRs, all of that has helped bring security at the forefront across the organization and not make it just a security team's concern or just an engineering team's concern. It become issues or findings from there become prioritized as part of the product roadmap, etc., etc. And that is why shared ownership really does help. The way to think about it, security isn't a checklist, it is a team sport. And it may sound, yeah, sure, it is very intuitive, but something that we implemented recently in the past year or so, and we've seen huge results just because of shared ownership here. All right, let's coming to the real world now. So, what did work for us? Just scanning from day one. Think about security as part of every application feature, as part of um, every piece of automation you're doing for your infrastructure. Again, I can't say much about much more about Jira auto ticketing. It does bring accountability. We talked about dashboards. Review it weekly between engineering and security. um, AI, a lot of us, I haven't touched a lot on AI here. We've just enabled AI on our Wiz infrastructure. It really helps reduce the noise. You will see hundreds and thousands of vulnerabilities that would get reported. It does help prioritize them, figure out what is most important for us to fix, and just generally reduce noise. Can't emphasize it enough. Continuous compliance. The more we invest in it in the early days, the less stress it is when the time comes for compliance. What I've learned over time is that almost every single control can be automated. It's not just about evidence collection, but also process that we have implemented for operations. Those evidence for those can also be automated. So this is a huge area that we are investing in. Like I said, we're not 100% there. We are investing in that, but that is something that is that the team is looking forward to. Um, I would say you could start implementing this in your organization right away. If there's anything in here that you don't do, try it out, start small, then bring it within your organization and see the benefit that comes out of it. Think about it as security built in, not bolted on. That is the shift that all of us should be making. And then the key takeaways. Once again, security is a feature. Build it like a product. IaC enables compliance at scale only if governed. One mistake in your IaC can replicate to thousands of deployments, making an impact. AI is your assistant. Cost visibility, make it part of your daily job. And shared goals, security is a team sport. I'd say make a copy of this slide, take a picture, take it forward, and let's make our cloud infrastructure secure. Thank you.
Awesome. Amazing job, Ruby. Thank you very much for going through that content. A lot of good messages in the chat. Yeah, makes cloud secure again, Maverick says. And some good Q&A. So we've got just about 15 minutes until the next session. So some good time to do Q&A. So there's been some upvotes. I think there's some more coming in. So I've got these ranked by the number of votes. And so Ruby, if it's okay with you, we can just go through some of these.
Absolutely. I'm just looking through there.
Yeah, I'll again, I've got them ranked by the number of votes, so I'll put it up on the screen so everyone can see. And yeah, let's try this one. So first, you talked about in the middle of your slides, the policy as code. So what's the tool or language that you and the team are using for those policy rules?
So we have OPA that we have implemented. We also have Sentinel that we have implemented. A lot of those policies are in the Helm chart. Some are straight in our Terraform code itself.
Okay, great. All right, so next one here. And you talked on this a little bit when you talked about the shared model, but what was the biggest challenge getting other teams aligned for this project? You have a lot of pieces of tech, a lot of processes, and any guidance that you'd have for working across other teams who need to get everyone bought in.
I think in our case, we were very fortunate that right from our CEO, we had the mandate, and our CEO and CTO are very passionate about making sure that our systems are secure. So that helped. Having said that, what we realized was at one point we were doing daily stand-up, and while 50% of them may not have helped, it was just giving a forum for people to come and talk through, get all of those different aspects out, and then we broke ourselves into small working groups with checkpoints, and that helped. The biggest thing was blameless. Number one was blameless, but more importantly, making sure that everybody had a forum to come talk through and then come back with actions and roles and responsibilities. It took some time to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that's helpful. Just everyone also getting context in those daily stand-ups of what's happening. Yeah.
Oftentimes what happens is one person or one team may be much more familiar and they're wanting to get to the end result a certain way, and another set of people may have a different perspective with a different experience. So just having the common place where people could share their ideas. I think the first week and a half, I don't know that we got too much out of it, but after time it accelerated to a point where now every meeting has real results and people do their work beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah. Rashav here had I think a similar question. I think you touched on it. How did you get buy-in from management to invest time? And it sounds like the leadership already understands the importance of all this work.
Yes. So I'm a long timer here at Avaya. I've been through cycles of it's an engineering only problem to get automation to we recognize it's needed and here's your budget to do automation, to it is at the forefront of the organization where we're going to invest in it. Fortunately, we are in that space. Having said that, I've been through the different cycles, and we just have to continue to show results. One thing that has worked for me is normally people like to see demos of features, but if you sort of package up the work you're doing on your automation and present the output of that to the right set of people in leadership, it does make a difference. Show them the value, not what you have done, but what the automation is giving them. Like show it in person. Very often we as engineers forget to talk about what is it, what is the customer value, actually convert it, do a simple slide, do a simple Excel math and show them the customer value and the dollar value, and you will get investment there.
Yeah, that's a great reminder for, I think, anyone's role, right? It's always important to know the work's done, but yeah, what's the value it's contributing? And you had some of that in the remediation stats, right?
Nobody cares that we worked on something. All everybody cares for is how does this benefit the customer and the business.
Yeah, well said. Okay, let's see. We got a question here from Matt. When you initially implemented guardrails, did you start with a report-only mode to get visibility before implementing strict policies?
Absolutely, yes. Even I think recently, it's not as recent anymore, but we were enabling WAF on one of the legacy programs that did not have the WAF enabled. Especially anything that you're adding at the edge, whether it is like in one of our GCP projects, we enabled Cloud IDS. You've got to put it in proxy mode. You've got to make sure that you don't impact your customers, that all your messages are coming in, they're getting captured, and then from there you start getting policies. Now, the ones in the PR build pipelines, some of it you can start with strict policies. But again, it's depending on the use case, how much disruption would something cause to your wider organization, whether it's on the engineering side, build side, or on your customer deployment. It all depends on the use case and the policy that you are talking about.
Right. So it's another question here, which got some upvotes around OPA and Sentinel when we asked which was the tool being used. Yeah, where did you draw the boundary for respective use cases between using one or the other?
So we started using OPA first from an RBAC perspective for our services, like at the application level itself, less on the infrastructure. We started using OPA, for example, all of our APIs, we said we needed to make sure that the right actor is the one that is authorizing. Authentication was easier. For authorization, we put in OPA. We're using Sentinel more on the infrastructure side. There is opportunity to use OPA even on the IaC side, but that's something that we'll be looking into. But our breakdown right now is Sentinel on the infrastructure side.
All right, thank you. Matt's got another good question here. You talked about it in your shared ownership model. What does the structure of the security game days look like? It's an interesting concept.
Very, very good question. So we have, earlier I used to have cloud operations with me. We have separated it out now in a different organization just because we are, our deployments are, we're talking about thousands of customers, and the kind of customers we have private cloud instances for them. So our operations guys actually have a structured way of failing the system, there's two ways. One is on the operations, one is on the security side, but trying to break the system and then trying to recover it. So this is on the operation side, just trying to break the system and then recover it and check how long it takes to recover. It's got to be seconds, minutes. So that's one activity that we do in game days. On the security one, it's more automated, with some of the scans, and our security team runs pen tests and things like that along with people on the call. So it's more testing and trying to break things is what it ends up being.
Yeah. I was going to ask, do you have like an internal, red team that helps do some of that pen testing and partner with you?
Yes, we do have our security team doing that.
Great. All right, we've got a few more minutes till the next session here. So Philip says, love the story. He had put this, about halfway through the presentation. And again, talking a bit more about the project and scope of the whole thing. What was the scope of the solution? And if you can share it, how long did it take to come up with the plan before you started coding the solution, and how many people were involved?
I'm not sure I will be able to answer all of those questions just because of the internal information, but I will say this. Avaya Infinity is something we launched in May. We launched our first release was in March. Our second, I say release, but we were doing consistent deliveries. June is when we had our big launch. Avaya is a company, we deliver contact center solutions. You see both unified communication and contact center solutions. We have Fortune, if you talk about Fortune 100, I would say most of them are Avaya's customers. If you talk about government, federal government, Texas state government, you talk about Canadian government, that is all we are talking about. Enterprise grade, large enterprises is what we are talking about for this project. And this is our flagship. Infinity is our flagship project, flagship program for their contact center solution, if you may.
Right. Makes sense why security is front and center in a lot of this.
Yeah. Can't go out. We can't.
Yeah. All right. A couple more questions left. So someone asked, Callian asked, what about integration with Defect Dojo? I don't know if that was on the slides or if you're familiar with that.
No, we haven't. I'm guessing it is about managing defects. No, we have not done it. I'm definitely going to go back and look and see if there is what it brings to the table.
Okay. And then last question here in the Q&A. Have you implemented custom tag-based context-aware IaC rules to circumvent the need for development teams to constantly ignore false positives and reduce noise? How would you scope this?
Have you implemented custom tag-based context-aware IaC rules to circumvent the need for development teams? False positives on what? So we definitely have, we are primarily, I'm not sure the scope of this question, but we do tagging, and our tags are primarily used by Wiz. In Wiz right now, we're using tools within Wiz for us to be able to reduce noise. We haven't really done anything specific outside, like by ourselves. There's so many good tools out there. So our mantra is wherever we can use the tools, we are going to be using the tools. A little bit more clarity or detail on the question would help me answer better.
Yeah. Well, I would encourage everyone, if you go to the speakers tab, you can go connect with Ruby on LinkedIn, and perhaps you and Neville could pick up the conversation there. So that was all the questions we had. We've got just over a minute left, so I think we can wrap up here. A reminder, when we end this session, you'll get a buffer video, and you can get automatically redirected to the next one, or you can go up to the top and hit the agenda and easily find the next session, which Pravesh is presenting, and that's about Terraform modules and how they've used those modules in a way to improve their posture for security. Ruby, thank you very much. Amazing session. I think everyone really enjoyed it. Thanks for the detailed Q&A. Thanks for everyone for asking the questions. I think it helps spur a lot of ideas and discussion. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next session.
Thank you, people. Thank you, everyone, for joining.